I know this one's going to be a bit controversial today, but I really have to talk about this. A lot of you are learning classical music for the wrong reasons. First, let me tell you why I learned classical music. I did it because at first, when I was a little kid, I thought it was cool, it was fun, I was intrigued by the music, and very soon thereafter, I just fell in love with it. And that's the best reason to learn classical music. Whether or not you become a professional, that's not what I'm talking about today. I'm just saying the reasons to get started and to continue with classical music. But let me tell you what I see as an instructor from beginners all the way through college over my several decades of teaching with people who are learning it for the wrong reasons. And if you're one of them, please take note. One of the worst reasons to learn classical music that I've seen pretty frequently is that people think, well, that's the middle class thing to do, or the upper class. I have some students who have a lot of money, but you don't want to just learn an instrument just because it's the thing that other people are doing in your financial class. Now, a lot of people have a piano at home and they say, well, it's just sitting around. I should learn it, or my kids should learn it. Otherwise, what is it doing there? But just because you have the instrument doesn't automatically mean you need to play it. Lots of middle class homes have a piano or a guitar hanging around, and they feel like now I have to play them. If you have the instruments already, learn them if you want to, but don't learn them just because you think you ought to. Now, of course, I play and teach cello, and most people don't have a cello lying around the house. So usually people will go out and get one first. So that means they're already interested in learning it. But a terrible reason I see a lot of students learn the instrument for is just to give them an edge on their college applications. I know colleges are really increasingly difficult, more and more difficult to get into, and you want to have that edge, right? And so traditionally, it's things like sports, clubs, and music. And because you want to just have more than just good grades, which a lot of students have nowadays, but to say, I'm just going to go start to take cello lessons because that's going to really balance out the fact that I'm also on the basketball team and I'm in the French club. Believe me, just having the instrument on your application doesn't make as much of a difference as you'd think. And you may, well, if you win like a big competition or you're in Allstate or something, that does make more of an impression, but not as much as you'd think. And you certainly don't want to start an instrument, work on it incredibly hard if you don't like it, just so that you can get into Allstate. That's a huge amount of effort just to have that one little line on your application. So that's a terrible reason, I think, if it's the only reason to just learn an instrument is to make your application look better. And I really hope that people will stop doing that. Another reason not to learn classical music, and I see this more with adults, is that they were learning it to be more cultured. They think, I don't have enough culture in my life. And in a way, that's great. I think we want to enjoy all of the great art around us, visual art, classical music, theater, dance, everything. It's great to enjoy it. But just because you're learning an instrument, it doesn't make you more cultured necessarily. You could learn more about music just by listening and reading about it. So just to select an instrument because you think it'll make you more cultured, and yes, I do have students who have done this, just to select an instrument for that one reason, to seem or look more cultured. Again, it's the same thing. It's like a one-line thing. You could say, oh, by the way, I play the cello. And the next reason to learn classical music, which is not good at all, is to win competitions or win auditions. And I have plenty of students who have started the instrument, and very soon in their studies with me, within weeks, they've said, the main reason I'm doing this is that I want to get into the main orchestra, my main youth orchestra, or I want to win this competition because it has some prize money. And I'm thinking, well, that's great, but do you like to play? Do you like orchestra? Do you like to play in small ensembles and things like that? And sometimes it's almost like they're shocked by the question. It's an afterthought. Oh, well, yeah, I guess it's fun. It's okay. And I just don't know what the thinking is there because, again, it's just that one line. Oh, I got into All-State, or I won third prize in a regional competition. I mean, So what? Why those things exist is to encourage people who love music to keep going. That's the main reason I don't completely blast competitions. There's a lot of unhealthy aspects to competitions. The reason I don't completely dismiss them is what I just said, is that they encourage people. They can push you to get better and better. But if your reason to learn is only to enter and win a competition, that's do you realize how much dedication, how much practice you have to put in to even get to the level where you can do a competition or you can audition for that good youth orchestra? You've got to do it because you love it, not just because there's a competition out there that you hope someday you'll win. And the last terrible reason to learn an instrument, and parents, if you're watching this, please take this in the right way, I beg of you. The last terrible reasons is because parents made you do it. I do understand this. I totally understand this. There are students of mine who have parents who said, well, when I was growing up, I didn't have the opportunity to learn. So my son or my daughter is going to learn the cello or the piano or whatever instrument it is. And I mean, I understand. I think it's very noble to say, I want my children to have it better than I have. I want my children to have more opportunities than I had. But to say, therefore, you will learn an instrument, that's not a great idea, especially if the student doesn't want it. Now, in many cases, luckily, my students who have parents who said, I would love my students to learn an instrument, the students say, yeah, I'd like to learn too. So it works out beautifully. But parents, if your kid is saying, I don't really like this, please don't force them. There are so many things they can do in this world: theater, dance, fine arts, photography, even within the arts. There's so many choices. Please don't insist because when you were young, you said, I always wanted the opportunity to learn an instrument. I didn't have it. So it's obvious that my kid would want it. If they do, that's great. And I totally encourage it. But I do ask my students who don't practice, is this something you even like? And sometimes they'll say, my parents are just making me do this. I think that's the saddest thing in the world, because not only are you not developing a love of music in the kid, but they're going to grow up and hate it. And they might not listen to classical music. And like, that's the opposite of what we want. So if you're a parent and you've asked your kid to learn music, do make sure, is this something you'd like to do? I mean, I do understand you have to let them try it for a few months before they realize whether they really want it or not, especially if you have little kids. But if after a few months your kid is saying, I really don't like this, mom, or I don't like this, dad, please don't force them to do it. And I do understand that most teachers are never going to discourage a student from taking lessons, and I won't do that either. But if I see a student really doesn't like it, then it's really not healthy for me to force the issue for any reason at all. So that was a bit of a rant. Today, I wanted to talk to you about the many reasons not to study music. There are so many wonderful reasons to study music, but they all really boil down to, I love music. If you do, then you ought to take lessons if you can, and it's a great thing. But just make sure you're not doing it for some of the reasons I discussed today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. If you like this, remember to like and subscribe. And remember, you can become a channel member as well. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.